border closure, government efforts in providing an atmosphere for various innovations by youth to thrive in the areas of small and medium-scale entrepreneurial skills and subsistence.
I call the Buhari Agrarian Revolution. For me, it is a roadmap to Nigeria's resurgimento. Our people, especially the teeming youths and women, are here to embrace this milestone as expected. I wish the state governors will join Mr. President and put more effort in what they are doing.
Lifting 100 million people out of poverty in 10 years, reducing economic inequality, enhancing internal democracy as the bedrock of true democracy, he agreed, remains the top priority of the current administration. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
To electoral matters, acting chairman of INEC, Ahmed Mwazu, has begun the process of having a date for the conduct of the 15 outstanding by-elections in 11 states, earlier scheduled for October 31st, 2020. Mayor Ogidi reports on the efforts and other decisions taken by the new man on the seat.
The MC asked all to stand up as the acting chair moves in. Betty screams, "No, sit." Everyone goes laughing. That brief show set the meeting between INEC and political parties on an interesting note, though many joined via Zoom.
To consult with you regarding the pending 15 by-elections in 15 constituencies across 11 states of the Federation.
These elections would have been over by now, if not of the NSAS protest, because they were scheduled for October 31st, 2020, but postponed for security reasons. Even in this meeting, there was a protest again. Two factions of IPAC claimed leadership, but the acting chair steps in promptly.
But for the purpose of this meeting, please let us just proceed.
Orderliness restored, the meeting continues, and the journey to fixing a date for the elections begins. Next was the state of the continuous voter exercise.
Now, on the continuous voter registration, the CVR, the Commission intends to roll out the nationwide program in the first quarter of 2021.
The media, civil society organizations, and security agencies are on the lineup for similar meetings before a date for the elections will be taken. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
To power generation now, the Federal Minister of Power, in collaboration with the Nigerian Energy Support Program and Nigeria Sustainable Energy for All, have commenced a nationwide effort towards offering the most accurate data and latest tools that impart data-driven electrification planning in Nigeria. At a virtual launch of the Central Data Management System, the Minister, Salim Ahmed, said the initiative is part of the Ministry's determination to digitize and address key challenges stifling the growth of the Nigerian power sector.
This is the focus of our electrification strategy to provide Nigeria with sustainable, reliable, and affordable electricity.
Now, how does government intend to achieve this particular objective? It's doing that through a two-pronged approach, mainly connecting the grid, extending the grid to various cronies in the country, as well as providing electricity through off-grid solutions. So what this particular database is able to achieve today is to define exactly what is the extent of electrification by identifying the entire clusters across the country.
Orchered by the European Union and the German government is to drive President Muhammadu Buhari's electrification vision 30-30-30, a target to deliver 30,000 megawatts of electricity by 2030, with at least 30% coming from renewable energy. To the aviation industry now, the Accident Investigation Bureau is redeveloping a systematic approach that will streamline the roles of stakeholders in response to aircraft accidents or incidents for effective safety management system. This is as a result of conflict roles among agencies of government and the general public during the time of distress or emergency, which sometimes hinder successful investigation and evacuation. Aviation correspondent Emmanuel Anyimero reports.
When an aircraft accident or incident occurs, an attempt to help by every kind of person or agency makes rescue or investigation cumbersome. To maximize opportunities that safety management system offers when conducting rescues and investigations during air crashes, adherence to international civil aviation policies and guidelines are key, which the Accident Investigation Bureau is focusing on.
But we need to be able to sensitize stakeholders on their key roles so that when we get to an accident scene or an emergency scene, we'll be able to adequately coordinate ourselves and effect the necessary rescue and evacuation of victims and protection of the sites.
The most important thing is trying as much as they can to enlighten the public.
The forum is therefore adopting 4 components in line with Annex 19 of International Civil Aviation and Safety Management Manual.
There are 4 levels of the Safety Set program, and Nigeria currently is at level 3. And with cooperation and coordination like this, we'll soon achieve the 4th level and be in complete compliance with the relevant IQ annex.
Also look forward to harmonize the roles of other relevant agencies, stakeholders, and industry interests towards integration, enhanced coordination and cooperation during aviation accidents in Nigeria within the Nigeria airspace.
With Memorandum of Understanding reached with different stakeholders by the AIB for a systematic approach compliance while responding to air crashes and disaster recovery, air safety is expected to be enhanced. Emmanuel Ayemiru, NTA News.
This is Nationwide on NTA. Let's now head to the megacity, Lagos, where Dotun Wiyemi is standing by with some reports. Hello, Dotun.
Thank you, Elizabeth. The Otedola Bridge is one of the numerous bridges in Lagos designed to solve the challenges of traffic gridlock and intra-city connectivity. But the tragic experiences of road users is causing apprehension and suspicion that the bridge is shrouded in mystery. In scrambling for a solution, attention is being shifted to the structural defect. But how true is this? Michael Olale provides an answer.
June 28, 2018 was a dark day in Lagos when a tanker loaded with petrol leaked and exploded on the Otedola Bridge. What looked like just one of those accidents claimed 12 lives, while 54 vehicles were razed. This is according to the Federal Road Safety Corps available data. This was the height of the incessant road mishaps periodically experienced on the stretch of the Otedola Bridge, especially by articulated vehicles. The scenario is gradually becoming a nightmare. In the wake of another accident on the 17th of October this year, attention was drawn to the possibility of design defects. Olukoya Oduluga, a tricyclist operating at one of the estates around the axis, has seen it all, and going by his observation, the assumption could be right.
Anytime that the trailer they are coming this way, the way they are coming with full speed, then maybe they have no their brake or anything, something will just happen. They start controlling it, they cannot control it. That's how the motor will meet the one in the front.
Residents say, regardless of their opinion, the position of experts is important in finding a lasting solution.
The work carried out on the bridge as at that time, 2018, was structurally stable.
Because it is more or less a site that is like work in progress, that they're building and they're repairing and resurfacing. It means that people need to be careful and limit their speed and be watchful about what they are doing on the bridge.
The Federal Road Safety Corps is putting up a more robust strategy as checking the trend. The sector commander appealed to motorists, especially tanker drivers, to comply with road safety code and treat a complicated situation with care in the interest of public safety. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
In furtherance of its objective to improve public service delivery by motivating and encouraging public servants to perform optimally, the Lagos State government has honored 861 employees of the state public service at an event in Alausa. Nosa Usla completes this.
Good governance is important for developing countries. In Nigeria, the civil service is the administrative arm of the government. It is the organ that helps the government work properly, assuring its staff that government will continue to reward them for their meritorious service. The governor, who was represented by the secretary to the state government, Folashade Jaji, charged civil servants to continue to pursue quality service delivery for sustenance of the change campaign towards an improved public service.
First of all, we started with the COVID-19 pandemic, which nobody anticipated, and we all know how it has affected our lives, and we have lost very important people. But some people still think it's not real. I want to say that it is real.
The head of service, Hakeem Murio Kuala, urged public servants in the state to keep up their good attitude to work and continually perform their good job to further the successful implementation of the team's agenda of the present administration.
The state is going through a process, and part of that rebuilding process is to show how resilient we are as a people, is to show that no matter what comes at us, we will shake it off and grow.
The HOS charged the awardees not to rest on their oars, but continue to exhibit the high sense of responsibility and commitment to duty. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
And those are the stories from here. Nationwide continues right after this break. From here, Nationwide continues right after this break.
A scorecard like no other. Put in place measures and initiatives principally targeted at youths, women, and the most vulnerable groups in our society. These included broad plan to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years, the creation of 75 billion naira National Youth Investment Fund to provide opportunities for the youths, and the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Survivor Fund, through which government is A. Paying 3-month salaries of the staff of 100,000 micro, small and medium enterprises. B. Paying for the registration of 250,000 businesses at the Corporate Affairs Commission. C. Giving a grant of 30,000 naira to 100,000 artisans and guaranteeing market for the product of traders. These are in addition to many other initiatives such as farmer money, trader money, market money, N-Power, N-Tech, and N-Agro. These and more in spite of a recession and a global pandemic.
Unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it. Don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA. Dialogue, empathy, love, and unity. These are vital components of nation building.
For all to be well, we appeal that we should refrain from volatile, provocative, inciting messages and language.
Let's build and not destroy.
Thank Thanks for staying with the NTA. Now to the judiciary. ECOWAS court sitting in Abuja has ruled in favor of a suit filed by an impeached justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia, Councillor Kabina Mohammed Jani, who contested his removal from office and replacement with a former vice president of the ECOWAS court. Omenka Amarachuku tells us more.
Delivering the judgment by a panel of 3 justices of the ECOWAS court, led by Justice Edward Asante, in a suit filed by the applicant through his counsel, Mr. Femi Falena alleged that the removal violated his human rights, particularly the rights of fair hearing and impartial trial, rights to work and dignity of persons guaranteed by the African Charter in Human Rights, which his removal from office violated the Liberian Constitution. He asked the ECOWAS court to award general damages in amount not less than $25 million, as well as compensation, and restore him to his former position of Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia. Respondents, the Republic of Liberia, denied violating the human rights of the applicant and submitted that the impeachment of the applicant was done through due processes of the law. Ruling on the judgment, the 3-man panel led by Justice Edward Asante ruled that the defendant was not given a fair hearing, therefore he is to be reinstated, and accordance paid his entitlements as well as moral damages of $200,000 equivalent to Liberian currency. He also asked the respondent to submit to the court report of measures taken to implement the court orders within 6 months. In Abuja, Omenka Amarachuku, NTA News.
We now shift our attention to budget defense. Minister of Mines and Steel Development is seeking the approval of 3 billion naira for exploration in the mining sector to help diversify the nation's economy and create job opportunities. This was at the 2021 budget defense of the ministry before the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals, Steel Development and Metallurgy. John Yako has this and other budget defense at the Senate.
The plan is to explore the rich mineral deposits in the country for development.
Exporting our gold in the raw form or converting everything into bullion, we could add value to them by making them into jewelry. When you make jewelry from the gold, the value added oftentimes can be up to 1,000%.
We have enough regulations and acts and laws that can guide all these activities we are talking of. But compliance, we are going to look into this.
The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice on his part seeks approval for 2 billion naira to enable the ministry carry out legal services on recovery of stolen funds and assets within and outside the country.
Our efforts for aggressive recovery was indeed hindered by the fact that we had to travel at a point where we were incapacitated in traveling. We had to engage the international forensic experts for the purpose of identifying, for example, the interest component associated with this amount right from the time the assets were looted.
We can't achieve anything without looking critically into our justice and judicial sectors, unless we are playing the ostrich.
Meanwhile, the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges has appealed to the Minister of Finance to consider an upward review of budgetary allocations to the Code of Conduct Tribunal, the Code of Conduct Bureau, and Public Complaint Commission to enable the agencies function optimally. He made the appeal when the agencies appeared before the committee to defend their 2021 budget.
They will sit together to ensure that this agency is funded so that corruption can be brought to the barest minimum within the spirit and purpose of the laws of Federal Republic of Nigeria.
John Yauku, NTA News.
An Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, has presented a budget proposal of 947 million for the year 2021 to run the culture and tourism sector of his ministry. Anthony Forson reports.
Giving a breakdown on how the funds should be expended, Lai Mohammed said the ministry will engage in a series of activities both at home and abroad. Some of the foreign events, though statutory.
Participating at UNWTO, ATA, UNESCO, African Union, ECOWAS conferences, AU Ministers of Culture conferences, etc. And we are budgeting 88 million. Participation UNESCO General Conferences. These are statutory conferences. We are proposing 31,519,517 naira.
And in the home front, there will be
vamping of existing cultural industries centers in Nigeria. We are proposing a sum of 157,974,604 for these 14 cultural centers.
Defending the 2020 revised appropriation, the minister said the 164 million appropriated, same amount was released for projects and programs in the sector. Chairman of the committee, Omorege Uwede Ihama, while commending the Minister for Fiscal Discipline, called on departments and agencies under the ministry to take a cue.
From this presentation, the minister had 100% releases and has performed very close to 100% in all of them, which I think it's laudable. You don't have any business in keeping government money in your possession. If it has been appropriated for, it should be spent accordingly. And for agencies that are here, if you have not expended your capital project at least up to 70%, and we're in November, I don't think you have any business to be in this hall to try to want to present a proposal for 2021.
The culture sector takes care of international cultural relations, entertainment and creative services, promoting cultural industries and heritage, as well as ecotourism. From the National Assembly, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Into other matters, the role being played by the media in the fight against COVID-19 is seen as a national duty that must be commended and supported by all stakeholders. This was contained in the Advocacy Toolkit on COVID-19 System Rescue and Citizens Action presented to the media. Haman Jabani reports.
The Advocacy Toolkit is to provide the necessary guidance for systematic process of developing advocacy materials around COVID-19 and their impact on the society. It is to include plan and implementation of political, policy and other levels of actions to mitigate the health and socio-economic impacts of COVID-19, which the media is described as the driving force in the fight. Champion of this, International Society of Media in Public Health and its partners believe that COVID-19 made weak system, hence the media playing the role of change agent and putting across its messages to the public despite lockdown of the economy.
Let's ask how our people at the rural areas are coping with all the protocol, why they are so nonchalant about it. We need, and these are the things we would help even the government, will help even people around. We'll be able to stem the tide of the spread.
It provides a whole range of earnings that as working families, they can hit into it, find the messages, find the actions.
While the media is ready to continue with the advocacy, government at all levels must be willing and ready to provide necessary data as at when due to avoid doubts and speculations while serving as the bridge builder between government and the citizenry. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Take you to our studio in Kaduna, where Amina is standing by with the next set of reports. Good to see you, Amina.
Elizabeth, welcome to Kaduna. Kaduna State Governor Nasru Ahmed El-Rufai has called on the National Assembly to enhance the budget of the Nigerian Armed Forces for effective internal security operations in the country. The governor made the call in Kaduna when he received members of the House of Representatives Committee on Army. Mohammed Umar Ajingi reports.
Members of the House of Representatives Committee on Army are in Kaduna on an oversight to army formations, but made a brief stopover at the government house. Enhancing army operations is the mission of these lawmakers, and they applauded the support by the Kaduna State government.
The narrative out there is that the National Assembly has always appropriated a lot of funds to the armed forces. But commentaries from public analysts and sometimes from civil society organizations seems to suggest that, look, some of these resources are not well utilized, and that sometimes the National Assembly is not doing its own bit. And we in this committee, we are doing our own part.
So I want to use this opportunity to appeal to you to please enhance the budget of our armed forces, particularly the Nigerian Army. What you are appropriating for them needs to be improved significantly. But because the federal government is overstretched, sometimes the state governments have to come in. And this is one of the reasons many of us are saying that it is time for the federal government to shed some of its responsibilities down to the other tiers of government.
Issues highlighted at this meeting are expected to be given the required attention for a better armed forces. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umarajingi, NTA News.
To ensure that no sector of the society is left behind in its effort to cushion the effect of COVID-19, Jigawa State Government has reached out to persons living with disabilities in the state. Hawwa Halliru Haruna tells us more.
Like other citizens of the country, persons with disabilities will not forget in a hurry the horrific situation they experienced during the lockdown period.
Mutane ba su bukata ta musamman su shigo da hali na haula'i. Na farko ba damar da za su fito su nema. Sannan wanda za su tallafa musu su ma ta kansu.
We really suffered during the lockdown, which as a result, we were deprived from the arms we usually get during fasting period.
Amma a wannan lokacin fa al'amarin ya sha bamban, yan kalilan ne suka samu suka iya wannan abu.
We are the most affected by COVID-19. As markets and other institutions, we are closed where we usually get our daily bread. Saka, however, comes on the way of this category of people, courtesy of Jigawa State Government. The Association of Persons with Disabilities received 1,500 packages of palliatives for distribution to its members.
When we receive these items, we are hoping that they will take it down to the grassroots members so that they can enjoy it. And those that will receive this item, please, I'm pleading to them that please, they should use it judicially. They should not take it out. They should not sell it to anyone. They should use it and ease their life, take it to their family so that their family will have the impact of government in them.
Members expressed appreciation for the gesture, appealing for more from other public-spirited individuals. From Dusi, Hawwa Halliru Haruna, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Elizabeth in Abuja.
So much, Amina. Moving on, troops of Operation Fireball and Operation Lafayette Dole have rescued a woman and 3 children in Bama local government area of Borno State. A statement by the Acting Director Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Onyeko, indicates that the victims were liberated during a clearance operation, while 8 terrorists were eliminated in different locations in the northeast. Details of the encounter revealed that 5 terrorists met their Waterloo while in combat at Bonigari in Yobe State, in addition to a female suicide bomber neutralized before detonating her vest. Several arms were recovered from the operations. Now to peace talks, youth in Yobe State have taken a bold step by designing a roadmap for sustainable peace and development in the insurgency-affected states. This came to the fore at the maiden Yobe Youth Peace Summit, where participants agreed in principles to be the vanguard of disseminating the gospel of peace in their respective localities. Unisa Suleiman brings us details.
Is believed to be the cornerstone of every development, and youth, who are often called the leaders of tomorrow, are key in promoting and sustenance of peace in the society. Gathered in this hall are Yobe State youth drawn from different ethnic, religious, political and social backgrounds, united by the desire, passion and commitment to develop a roadmap for fostering of peace and harmony in the society through opinions sharing and cross-fertilization of ideas. Coming at a time when the state is gradually recovering from the decade-long insurgency and on path to recovery, speakers and panelists at the summit said time has come for authorities in the state and the country as a whole to consider youth engagement as part of their priority for the advancement of good governance and social justice if social disorders such as the recent violent EndSARS protest and other crises are to be averted.
We have enlightened the youth in order to actively participate in activities that will bring about peace and stability in the nation.
For us to have sustainable peace and security in any society, the youth are critical stakeholders that need to be carried along.
We want to also call on governments to economically empower those women that are breadwinners so that they in turn will have control of their words.
Governor Malabu, the representative, said the first Yobe Youth Peace Summit clearly underscored the crucial role of the youth as the backbone of the society and peace as prerequisite for meaningful development. Hence, commended the teeming youth in the state for not allowing themselves to be used as agents of destruction during the widely condemned NSAS protest. Towards creating a peaceful, decent and egalitarian society was the theme for the summit. In Damatru, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
Members of the FCT Ministerial Committee on NSAS protest have commenced visitation to the scenes of attacks within the territory. Shuaibu Onoza Yakuba reports that on day one, the committee visited Kwali and Gwagwalada area councils to ascertain the level of damage with a view to compensating the victims.
The first port of call was Kwali Area Council Secretariat, where the council chairman, Ladi Chia, took members around the affected areas, after which a report was submitted to the committee chairman.
Kwali Area Council was vandalized, Dr. Ladi Kwali Center was vandalized, and HCD Fertilizer Store was also vandalized. So these are three areas that were affected in Kwali, and we are believing the committee will do the needful to see that the FCT administration come in to help Kwali Area Council.
In Gwagwalada Area Council, the team was taking around the vandalized warehouses where the hoodlums scattered away food items and other valuables. The situation was more pathetic at Tungamaji, where all the warehouses were ransacked and all the palliatives stolen.
From the assessment, we have discovered that it's not only the government or private sector that is even affected. We discovered that even teachers, through their own cooperative societies, whatever they are having in their warehouse or stores were looted. This is so bad, and I'm sure the committee is going to do justice as we're expected to do.
Gwagwalada in particular, who has much of this in our warehouses, and you've seen it, you've seen the damage, nothing is left. It leads to destruction of properties, even the roofing being removed. And we use this opportunity to say the minister will look into it.
The team later paid homage to the Aguma of Gwagwalada, Muhammad Magaji. The assessment visit to the scene of NSAS protest attack will continue in other area councils of the FCT. Shuaibu Onoza Yakubu, NTA News.
A human rights activist, Mr. Kenechukwu Okeke, has initiated a criminal proceedings at the FCT Chief Magistrate Court, Abuja, seeking prosecution of NSAS promoters and rioters whose actions led to wanton loss of lives and colossal damages to both public and private property in some parts of the country. The complainant in the affidavit he deposed to stating that as a responsible citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he is committed to peace, security and good governance in any part of the country while promoting the rule of law, accountability, promoting the socio-economic and fundamental rights of Nigerians. In the verified affidavit posted on his Twitter handle, the complainant listed 28 persons as defendants. He said the rule of law ensures permanent justice, while protests lead to anarchy and lawlessness, which is counterproductive. Mr. Kenechukwu Okeke noted that he will ensure diligent prosecution in the interest of defense, public safety, and public order. Now, ministries, departments and agencies under the Ministry of Information and Culture should concentrate more on internally generated revenue to enable them perform better with little support from the federal government. This was at the 2021 Budget Defense before Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation in Abuja. Adebola Broxton Sunday reports.
Media outfits are some of the worst hit by COVID-19 as a result of social distancing, lockdown, and other protocols. NTA led in the defense, where the Director General Yakubu Ibn Muhammad reviewed the appropriations with the hope of better performance going forward, especially in its efforts towards the completion of its permanent sites and digital switchover.
Our COVID-19 involvement in terms of jingles and programs, November 3rd this year, stands at 630,500,000 naira. If we include live coverages of PTF briefings, the figure will exceed 1 billion naira. The authority is yet to receive any form of intervention in this regard.
For APCON, the advent of social media is a major challenge.
The way we are currently structured, we don't have the empowerment to monitor the digital media.
What I want to say is just to put more effort in internal generation.
The agency has suffered over the years, particularly in the year 2020.
With its 8.2 billion naira proposal, Director General of National Orientation Agency, Garba Abari, said his projection is for 2021 to be better, as the National Film and Video Censors Board also made its defense.
Monitoring and evaluation to make sure that a couple of things did not happen in this country. So this budget was reduced to almost, the 2021 was reduced to almost nothing.
For the nation media regulator, National Broadcasting Commission, the acting Director General, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, said 2021 will be a better year.
Our intention in 2021 is to increase on our contribution to the revenue, consolidated revenue. We are now moving it up from 25 to 30%.
Some of the agencies were asked to return after perfecting their defense. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on NTA. Time now to join Ogochuka in Benin for more reports. Hello, Ogochuka.
Elizabeth, good afternoon. The Edo State Judicial Panel of Inquiry continued to entertain witnesses of extrajudicial killings by the police and members of its disbanded unit, SAS. Here are details of proceedings in the panel that now has 38 petitions before it. The late Ibrahim Momodu was a final year student of Laboratory Science Technology in the University of Benin when he was shot close to his family house on Textile Mill Road in May 27, 2013. 7 years after, the case has been brought before this panel. Even though the corporal was sentenced to life imprisonment, the family wants the DPO, now retired, to answer for her complicity in the case.
We are asking this panel to compel the Commissioner of Police in the light of evidence. Should apologize, Commissioner of Police should apologize to the family of Ibrahim Momodu. We are asking this panel to invite the SDPO of that session who misled the police and attempted to mislead the people of this state into believing that Ibrahim Momodu was an armed robber.
Few minutes into cross-examination of the deceased mother by the Defense Counsel, Inspector Nnamdi, the panel received a preliminary objection by Mrs. Afebua's lawyer to discontinue hearing the case. This sparked reactions from members of the panel.
It's an insult on the party. An insult on us who have been on the street for good 1 year, clamoring for the arrest and struggle who killed Ibrahim. This is how this case happened. This man be escaping justice, and they have started playing that game right now.
The chairman struck out the proceedings for the day and adjourned to the 17th for fresh hearing, since the police counsel cannot speak for the retired DPO. Also this Tuesday, the panel entertained a case of murder of one Benson Obude. The case was adjourned to 17th also of this month to give room for the police to be served. In Benin, Agatha Egware-Ojo, NTA News. And from Asaba, the wife of the governor of Delta State, Dame Iduthokoa, has distributed food items to 48 registered orphanages and 5 adopted families in the state. It is a celebration of the World Orphans Day and her way of giving back to society, of which UNICEF report indicates that almost 10,000 children become orphans every day, and at least 140 million orphans in the world. Ngozi Imokwede has details.
God will multiply what has been given unto you in Jesus' name. As other people see us do this, God will also push them to do more.
Wife of the governor, Dame Edith Okowa, reminded people in authority to put smiles on the faces of the less privileged in the society. She charged caregivers to raise the children in conducive environment filled with love and the fear of God. The governor's wife said every child has a right to sound education, protection, and good life, amongst others. But this is not so with others.
No matter how less privileged you are, there's somebody you are better than. And talking to every other Nigerian, which I know this pandemic has shown us that so many people have gone out doing good. Let us not be weary in the well-doing. What we are doing here is not like we have done it and that is once in a year. Giving is a continuous process.
Some of the beneficiaries, including Ifeanyi Aboje, an orphan, says the O5 initiative has been catering for them.
I lost my dad in 2008. We lost our mom in 2012. So from there, she took us ahead. She paid for my siblings' school fees. We thank God for our life.
I'm elated for us to be here again to receive all these food items on behalf of our children.
The L5 initiative started distribution of food items to the orphanages in the 3 senatorial districts of the state since Thursday last week. In Asaba, Ngozi Imokwede, NTA News.
Nationwide continues in Abuja. Good afternoon.
To lose track of one's culture is to actually lose one's identity and personality. To mitigate this, there must be a conscious effort to jealously guard and preserve this identity for generations, especially in this age where values, norms and morals are fast eroding. In an effort to preserve that of our tribe in Adamawa South, a book, Batiye, Migrations, was unveiled. Lydia Sampson reports.
Culture, they say, is a way of life. Embedded in that of the Wache people of Adamawa Southern Senatorial District are good morals, values, virtues, and humanness that must not be allowed to go extinct. Reason why the book, Wache Migrations, is launched to dig deep into the origins, settlement, migrations, tradition, norms, and values of the Bata and Bachama people.
Agglomeration of quite a number of tribes and people, that covered the expanse of northeastern Nigeria presently. The expression, Waraone, for instance, talks more about humanity and humanness and how you can be welcoming to virtually all citizens and people of the world. That tells you that there's something to do to unite Nigeria.
Culture keeps evolving, and as the culture evolves, the people evolve with the culture. And the only way you can uphold and sustain your culture is one of the reasons we're here today.
If you don't write your own history, another person will write it for you. And what he says will be what the world will know.
234 pages, the author, Elliot Afiu, unravels the roots of the people from inception till date.
If you don't have a history, you cannot preserve your culture. So the first thing you do is to get the history.
Our generations to come, if we do not document history and give them to read these books, we will end up having identity crisis.
With bold prints, colorful pictures and illustrations, the book is designed to suit all ages. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
And Mena in Enugu has some reports for us on Nationwide. Over to you, Mena.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. Anambra State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, in partnership with UNICEF, World Health Organization, and National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, has embarked on a 10-day preventive mass vaccination indices against yellow fever and meningitis across the state. Chinyere Fesio Kwe reports.
Statistics revealed that during the introduction of meningitis A conjugate vaccine into routine immunization in 2019, the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency noted that MA remains a major global health challenge, as about 26.7 million Nigerians are at risk of meningitis. Records also showed that from January 1 to December 10, 2019, a total of 4,189 suspected yellow fever cases were reported in some local government areas across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory in Nigeria. It says that from January to September 2020, there have been 42 suspected yellow fever cases reported in Anambra State alone, hence the need for the preventive mass vaccination campaign against the two diseases, meningitis and yellow fever, in the state.
Around 90% of cases are reported annually, and they occur in the sub-Saharan Africa. Infected travelers from areas where yellow fever occurs can export cases to countries that are free from yellow fever.
The 10 days campaign involves two age groups for different antigens: yellow fever vaccination 9 months to 44 years, covering about 85% of the total population; meningitis A vaccination 1 to 5 years, covering about 16% of the total population. The vaccines, experts say, are safe and free. From Oka, Chinyere Fesi Okoye, NTA News.
Enugu State is now set to domesticate the 2016 National Food and Nutrition Policy that will, among other things, improve the nutritional status of children in the state and encourage exclusive breastfeeding amongst nursing mothers. At the opening ceremony of a 4-day workshop to finalize a multi-sectoral costed plan of action for the domestication of the policy, wife of the governor, Monica Ugwanyi, urged the participants to ensure speedy domestication of the policy for the good of the children and mothers in the state. Jude Abugu has details.
A recent National Demographic Health Survey shows that Nigeria has the highest number of stunted children below 5 years of age in sub-Saharan Africa and the second highest in the world due to hunger and malnutrition. This, the chairman Enugu State Food and Nutrition Committee says the National Food and Nutrition Policy 2016 will reverse by 2025.
Nigeria's policy on food and nutrition 2016 seeks to reduce the proportion of people who suffer hunger and malnutrition.
The chief of field office, UNICEF Enugu Field Office, noted that due to the size and population of Nigeria, nutrition has become a great burden.
Nutrition in particular, if a child do not have the requirements of a good nutrition, their cognitive power is still limited and therefore affects their growth and affects their capacity to think.
The wife of the governor, Monica Ugwanyi, stated that wives of Nigerian governors are at the forefront of championing nutrition and food security in the country.
It is important that better nutrition for women, children, and adolescents should underpin Enugu State's push to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals.
The participants cut across ministries and departments in health, education, agriculture, budget and planning, gender, water resources, as well as science and technology. In Enugu, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
And that's the contribution from Enugu. Nationwide continues with Elizabeth in Abuja after this break.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
My name is Nando Jamda
Muhammad Stedita Hussein Musa Roduma Joel Finji Said Musa John.
I'm a carpenter. I've been doing this for more than 8 years now.
And I said that plantain na kai kimamin shekara uku.
I've been selling my tomatoes for about 10 years now, and I do it for a better Nigeria.
And I do it for a better Nigeria.
Ina wannan sana'ar lemu ne domin Nigeria ta ci gaba. Ina sa domin Nigeria ta kyau.
And you can see how we are doing our small little work to make Nigeria great.
it. As you can see, I'm a technician and I'm doing it to help myself and to help my generation. Business.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
NTA News 24. A 24-hour news station brings to you news and happenings 7 days a week.
News at 10 a.m., news update at 11 and 1 p.m.
News desk at 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. and late evening news at 11 p.m.
Follow us on any of our platforms and keep abreast of events and current affairs within and outside our shores.
We are on DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46,
Star Times channel 101 and Free TV channel 703.
Join us.
Do you know that social media is not good or bad, and that it is you who is using it that is either good or bad? Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, verify the information, and reflect before sharing it. Now, are you a good social media user? Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source for a better Nigeria.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
U.S. President-elect Joe Biden's camp is reportedly considering legal action to force Trump's administration to begin transition. Justin Bemwe brings us details.
With the transition clock ticking and yet no action from the Trump administration on handing over to the new president-elect, Joe Biden's team is reportedly looking at legal action, among other options, as the General Services Administration, GSA, fails to formally recognize the Democrat election win. The General Services Administration, GSA, normally recognizes a presidential candidate when it becomes clear who has won an election so that a transition of power can begin. That has not yet happened despite U.S. television and news networks declaring Biden the winner on Saturday after he secured enough electoral votes to secure the presidency. The law does not clearly spell out when the GSA must act, but Biden transition officials say their victory is clear and the delay is not justified, even as Trump refuses to concede defeat. Trump has repeatedly claimed without evidence that there was widespread voting fraud and has filed a raft of lawsuits to challenge the results. Justin Bemwe, NTA News.
And that ends Nationwide today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Don't forget, the fastest and easiest way to becoming a star is to connect with the NTA to stand against rape and rapists. Good evening.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News.
A national communion.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the sports parliament. Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA. Keep a date with the parliamentarians.
guys have it.
Welcome to Abuja, the place that unites Nigeria.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. Application for iOS or Android. Intelsat 901/332.5 degrees east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Appears to people, I am my brother's keeper. I am a child in one of the youngest nations on earth. I am the passion. I am the soul of a continent. I am a Nigerian.
The reward for hard work is indeed a lot more work. And on this program, week in, week out, we seek to celebrate hard work, bringing to you the other sides to those hardworking individuals. Here we are at the home of the CEO of CMC Interiors, Yinka Oshobu, all on Executive Discuss. I am Ololade Adeniji-Adeli, welcoming you to another interesting edition of the show. Hello, Yinka. I'm very well, thank you.
About and the Executive Discourse team. Nice to have you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you. I mean, you do have a lovely place here, I must say.
And sorry, you didn't give me enough time to put my shoes on.
Yinka.
But never mind.
Yinka.
I shall find time to put my shoes on for the rest of the show.
Yinka, do not deceive our viewers. Because you're not a shoe-wearing individual. You're not.
Seriously.
So
how did you know that?
Don't worry. A little bird told me about
told
it.
you.
Yes. Thank you so much for allowing us into your home.
Sure.
One thing I must tell you, I've learned a lot from this woman, and I've learned so much about her, you know, in the course of my interactions with her. Do I really want you to know some of those things? Well, let's find out the much of her that, you know, we can expose on Executive Discuss. Yinka, once again, it's good to see you.
Good to see you again, looking good and bubbly, and I'm sure you have some interesting questions for me.
Yes, I do have interesting questions for you, and it's a good thing you're wearing sandals.
Yes, I wore them just for you because, as you know, I like to be barefooted most of the time.
Yes, I mean, that is one thing.
But you want to know why?
Please, let us
I just think it's just, you know, it's earthy. You know, I'm like inside me, I think maybe my former life, I was like a gypsy, a Guru Maraya kind of, you know, earthy, villagey kind of person. I don't know. I just feel it's just nice to feel the earth, you know?
Yinka.
Yes, ma.
Try.
Try.
Try to pretend to be the Oyibo that
I am. But I don't want to be that part. I prefer to be the African that I am, the true African that I am. Because I am actually truly African, very Afrocentric.
Yes.
Africa, I mean, where else? The best.
Indeed, yes, of course.
We are the best.
You're a true African. And, you know, talking about being African, you have been able to establish a business that, you know, has grown not just across Nigeria, but across, you know, the African frontiers. Now, for me, you're doing something that is different, kind of, because you're in a male-dominated field. But how did the journey into furniture making begin for you?
Well, it wasn't my academic training. Like I said, I'm a child psychologist by profession, really. And again, I always tell people, it doesn't matter what you study. You can, you know, whatever you study is very transferable. And I use what I have learned academically very much so with my work and my workers. And as you know, you've been to the factory, and I have very few staff turnover. A lot of it is because of my academic background, where I learned to understand when to push and when to pull. But generally, like I said, I'm a child psychologist. I came to Nigeria to bury my father, never left. That was my father's dream, that I stayed in Nigeria, and I only sadly realized it only after he passed. So I came, I couldn't find a job. I couldn't get anywhere to practice. Practicing psychology isn't part of our culture. Our grandparents do that, our mother-in-laws and our friends. Now things are changing. 20, 25 years later, things are changing a little bit, especially in the schools. So I didn't know what to do. My mother was an interior landscaper, and she really had a good flair for interiors. So learning from her, working from her over the years, I just thought this is a natural thing for me. I enjoy it. I started very small. I got a lot of positive reinforcement when I started. And the rest is history, really.
Now, I'm looking at your background. Your father was, bless his soul, was one of, you know, the most reputable lawyers, you know, that we had in Nigeria and in Africa. And I'm wondering, coming from such a legal background, you know, on your father's side, you did not take to law, and that's surprising. One would have expected to see you practice law.
My father had several children. If everybody was a lawyer, that would have made him happy. In fact, he pushed and pushed and pushed. And my father so believed in education. In fact, when I finished my master's, and I told my dad, "Hey, Dad, I finished my master's," and my father said, "You've just started. Go and do your PhD and come back and tell me that you have studied." So really, my father really wanted me to be a lawyer as his first child. He really pushed, but it wasn't for me. But my brother Dotun, is a lawyer, and he's practicing with Femi Falana right now. Wow. So at least we have a lawyer in the family.
You do have a lawyer in the family.
Yes.
Coming to what you do, yes, you've told us how your journey started, and I'm wondering, what has the experience been like over the years for you?
I think it's the best thing that's ever happened to me to come back home. I always encourage people to come back home. My father wanted me to be here. My father thought I should be here. My father knew I would be able to, you know, make a good life for myself here. And it hasn't been easy because I've been single most of the time with my children. I've had to, you know, it's not easy for single parents really to manage a big business and to be a mother and to do all these things. But I've had the most supportive team ever. My grandma, who passed recently, my father's sister, Auntie Moni, bless her, she made it possible for me to actually succeed because she was here with my kids, and she was a retired teacher and a loving mom. I mean, my kids actually identify more with her as mom than with me, which is fine, because as long as the children have as many loving people as possible, then of course my staff that have been with me, my driver has been with me 25 years, my nanny has been with me 25 years. So it's like it's just one big family, and we've just kept moving on. Challenges, you know, come and go like any other businesses. The economy has been challenging in the last couple of years. We've had to really think out of the box in order to stay afloat. We've had to go more online, and we've had to look at how we produce to see not how we can cut quality, but how we can control waste, for example. That was one of the big things we did. I always say not having money or having economic challenges is quite good for you, because it's a teaching process. It's a learning process. You get to, you know, dot your I's and cross your T's. And so by the time things get better, you still continue to dot your I's and cross your T's and do a little bit better. So it has been an interesting journey. I'm hoping to get to the point where I'm working because I want to work and not because I have to work. But I think I'm still maybe about 10, 15 years away from that. And it's been very interesting. I wouldn't want it any other way. I sit back sometimes and say, what would I have changed? What would I have done differently? And I was doing a personality test recently, and the personality test labels me as, I don't know what that means, a protagonist, really. I read what that meant, and it was true in the sense that it says you're the sort of person that never has any regrets. You know, you take things, you hold things by the bull, you move on, you take your loss, count your losses, move on, you rejoice at the good things, and try not let the bad things weigh you down. I've always been like that.
Wow. Yes. Definitely a goal-getter you are, I must say. Now, for the purpose of our viewers, you know, who do not know what exactly you guys do. You're into furniture making, you're into interior decoration, but do you have a particular genre of furniture making that you do? Or, you know, what kind of furniture, what kind of work do you do at Slims Interiors?
Yeah, we are a bespoke, custom-make company. In other words, you know, you have a cabinet, you have a space in your house that's 2 meters wide by 6 meters high. You want something to fit in that slot. We get that done for you. We do all types of furniture in terms of home, office, hotels, schools. However, we don't do doors, for example. Most people think because we automatically make furniture that we do doors. A lot of people come to me and ask me, do I do doors? So that's one thing we don't do. So basically, almost everything that are bespoke. However, we do have a retail line going. In other words, we do have things, as you will see when you come to the factory, that we do have things on ground that you can just buy and go on sofas ready-made. In fact, we have a production policy of making parts down. A lot of people wonder, how is CMC always so fast? You know, we order 100 chairs and, you know, we can get it in a week. It's not easy with woodwork unless you plan. So we tend to have a lot of components down. So we make components, so we can say, okay, we want to have maybe 10 designs of dining chairs. You make all the legs, and then maybe only the backs are different. So by the time you come, we just couple.
So it makes things faster
and easier for then we can offer a variety of options. That's for the retail line. However, we do get people who say, you know what, I have a picture, there's something I really like, or there's this color I really like, could you do that for me? And yes, we do.
Talking about, you know, how it has been for you over the years, you mentioned that, you know, a lot of times you were not really available on the home front. How has this impacted on your family, especially your children?
I think my children have always understood that I have to work, and that I've had to work to provide the lifestyle and that we try to have, and you know, the school fees, especially like I said, being on my own, they really understand that I have to work. And one of the ways I've tried to make that gap up is to have them involved in the things that I do. So for example, when they were younger, they used to get dropped off at the office.
Okay.
It was at the office that we did all the homework. The lesson teacher would come to the office, we did the homework at the office, so that by the time we got home, we could have quiet time. And this developed because usually it happened that when I come home, they were just doing homework and I'm tired and I'm screaming and they're like, why is she screaming? So just a little change made a big difference. So I said, okay, bring them to the office after school. After school, we do the homework, do it. Now we can come home and everybody can relax and it's fun. It's fun when we come home. It impacts them, of course, you'll have to ask them because obviously it impacts every child in a different way. You try to do your best. I always say to my kids, look, you have the prerogative to always find another mom. But this mom is doing the best that she knows how to do with what I have. I may not always be correct. You know, you're free. We have a very open, pragmatic relationship. I mean, I'll give you an example.
Yes.
When I was building the factory, we didn't have money to travel. And they had been used to traveling every year. And I said, look, I'm building this factory. We don't have money to travel. If I take the money to travel, when we come back, we have to be drinking garri and we'll have no diesel for the generator. So they understand my practicality and I always carry them along on all the stages that I'm at. You know, if I'm doing well, I carry them along. If I'm not doing so well, I carry them along. We discuss. And I think one of the positive impacts of that is that my kids are very entrepreneurship.
Oh,
They're always thinking about creating jobs. And we have that conversation a lot. So I'm very proud of the fact that my daughter, who you'd meet, is self-employed. My second daughter is self-employed.
Wow.
My third son is almost graduating and very much on track as to what he wants to do. So I'm very lucky and fortunate.
Fantastic.
Yes.
You are very lucky.
Yes.
All right. Well, Yinka has said so much, you know, about how she's able to run the home front. Why not let's meet one or two of her kids so we'll actually get to know what kind of a mother she is. You know, this is Executive Discourse and this is what we seek to do, to find out other parts to our guests. So let's meet one or two of Yinka's children.
So Yinka Oshabu is my mom, luckily. I would say that she's hardworking, first of all. She is straight to the point and she's a free spirit.
She is an entrepreneur and she is a great life and business role model. Growing up with her was a great experience. A lot of life lessons that were very subtly taught that I can pull from now and be like, so this was what all this was about. So it was good. I had an amazing childhood.
It was great. I had a very good childhood growing up. Like I said, she has always been straight to the point, so she didn't really baby us too much. And I think she gave us a good balance between reality and, you know, still being able to be a child. It was fun. We had a lot of fun, my sister and I. And we did a lot of traveling, a lot of experiences. She was very keen on creating experiences for us, which I really appreciate now. She brought in my grand aunt, which we called my grandma, who has now passed away. But she raised us. She also raised my mom. So we had a family member, a trusted family member with us at all times. And the time that she did spend with us was she spent quality time with us, doing things that were fun, also impacting us, also leading by example. She was in Abuja for a while, and I remember we used to go and visit her every holiday, and it was always a great time. So I think it impacted me positively because she didn't let her circumstances or she didn't let anything, how will I put it, stop her drive. And I think, you know, I kind of, even though I didn't really understand it then, I kind of internalized that. And from a young age, I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Seeing her running her own business really inspired me to want to have my own business. So right from school, I went straight, I think I worked for a year, and then I went straight into starting my own business. And that drive, that hunger for success, that attention to detail has really rubbed off on me. My sister and I grew up working in the factory. We used to stuff pillows and there's this veneer thing they call veneer. We used to glue veneer. So, you know, just seeing her in that industry that's, you know, predominantly male driven, and seeing her succeed in that industry just really kind of put that fire behind me to say that I can also do it and do whatever I want to. I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful for that upbringing.
Yinka first is the force. You know what you mean by force? A force is when something walks into a place. It changes the atmosphere. Yes, she has a presence. Positive, charming personality. She's a woman that, you know, every day, with the things, every time I encounter her, I'm inspired. She's a professional in her business. She's a fantastic mother. She's a great sister. You know, she's a woman that you can't but not. Yinka Shobu walks into a room, right? And when she sits down, she's the first person that, her personality is so charming and so addictive that she first enters with a smile. The room lights up when she's there. Honestly, I tell you, without it out. The room actually lights up when Yinka is there. And her business ethics is one to admire. She keeps going at it. I tease her all the time. I said, the only thing you get comfort is in your business. At work. When she's at work, she's herself. You know, there's so many things to describe her as, but I will tell you, I'm blessed to have someone like that in my life. And I'm not saying it out of, I'm actually blessed to have her. She's wonderful. I'm telling you, if I use the word wonderful, I probably use it like 100 times. You know, and I know that I say the same for a lot of people around her. She has a happy, a positive, she's light. She carries a lot of light in her. You know, so I'm very thankful that I have her as, one, a friend, two, a sister, and three, an egbon, because she guides me. She guides me. She's the one, if I say top 5 of people that if something is going on in my life, she's one of the top 5 that I'll go to and say, Atinks, what do you think about this? So I'm really, really blessed to have her in my life.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
Wow. I must say, Yinka is a mother through and through, because having met, you know, her kids, what more do we want to learn from her, especially on the home front? But of course, there's still more to talk to this special woman all about on Executive Discuss. Yinka, we've met, you know, your daughters, and yes, they've given us a true picture of who you are. Now, taking one thing away from what your daughters have said, which is your practicality, and, well, you always wanting to get things done on the spot.
Is that what they said?
Yes.
Yes.
That yes, once mommy wants something done, yes, it has to be done at that particular point. Now, this kind of way of life, how has it impacted on your business?
I read somewhere that you either do it now, delegate, or it doesn't need to be done, or it's not necessary. So do it now, delegate, or remove, or eradicate, or delete, or whatever you want. You know, maybe it's not important. So I'm always saying those 3 things to myself. Is this something I can do now? Is this something I can delegate, or is this something I really don't have to do? So that helps me, because time just has a way of flying by. You understand? So if I have to make a phone call, I'm not the sort of person that says, oh, I'll make it in 2 hours.
Procrastinate.
No, I don't. I just do it, you know, and I just keep doing it. And I have to sign a check. I don't say, come back in 2 hours. I just say, okay, it's 30 seconds. I just do it. You understand? So I keep on just getting things done. And sometimes I say to myself, wow, how do you get all this stuff done? You know, I'm sometimes amazed at myself, but I think that's just my philosophy. And then another thing I say, and I say to everybody, do not do tomorrow what you can do today. Tomorrow may never come. So it just works for me. And then sometimes I say, oh, thank God I did that yesterday. Can you imagine? I didn't know that my truck will not work today. I didn't know something. I'm so happy I did it. Even though I didn't feel like doing it, even though I could have left it, I'm really pleased I did it. So it just becomes a habit.
Her weak point is that she doesn't like anybody to be lazy. She wants to meet up her target. When she tells you she wants this around this time, you must at least finish it for her. When you don't do that for her, she screams, she shouts, she talks, because she gives the customers their target to deliver.
Hey, my boss, she doesn't want you to sit down. She doesn't want you to rest. Yeah, I think that's a flaw.
She cares about people to her fault. She cares about you, about her children, about everything. Whatever you're feeling, she's feeling. She wants to know what is happening to you. That's a weak point. Some people don't care at all. Yinka, when I say a friend and a sister, if a friend turns into a sister, she's a woman of many parts. She's a superwoman.
I think Auntie Yinka's weak point, which is a strength as well, is the fact that she's human. Human, and she's humane. She doesn't see, in the kind of world we live in, the world is changing. And a lot of people, she doesn't see anything wrong with anybody. She always tries to see and I see that it's not a weakness for her because it's a strength. But sometimes you see a weakness as a strength. She doesn't see anything wrong in anybody.
My mom is a perfectionist, and it has to be it's her way or the highway. And she's very impatient. Mom, please don't kill me if you watch this. But my mom is impatient. She wants things done, and she wants them done well, and she wants them done now. And not everybody subscribes to that school of thought. Not everybody is capable at moving at that pace. And it's just like, either you're moving at that pace or you get out of the way. So I think that would be one of her flaws.
Wow, wow. A positive habit, I must say. Looking at, your line of work, your business, CMC does so much and you have quite an outlet there. I mean, it's quite big in the furniture and interior, decoration business here in Nigeria. Now, I'm wondering, taking a look at and listening to you about, how you started, how far you have come. We all know that, yes, there are economic meltdowns around the world, not just in Nigeria. And I'm wondering how easy or otherwise has it been for you to be able to achieve so much in this length of time and still, get going, your staying power?
Yeah. I think you just have to be very prudent. I think that's one of also the things that I have always been extremely prudent. And I'm not being silly, and I'm not talking about silly prudent. I'm not saying drink Gary if you can eat rice. That's not the sort of prudent that I'm talking about. I'm just saying that I have a very simple lifestyle. That has helped me. I really don't have fancy tastes. I don't own jewelry. I don't own fancy cars. I don't...
What about the fancy shoes?
I don't own fancy shoes. Exactly. I'm just, for many years, my friends are even, oh, wow, she's buying a Shoebi now, I never did that all my working years. Now my friends that I've grown up with, their children are getting married, and, you now feel like you need to do those Shoebi kind of things. And, of course, I'll frown if it's more than 10,000 naira. But anyway, I'm extremely prudent about my lifestyle. I'm extremely prudent about how I run the factory. And I think that has just helped. So basically, you wouldn't know if I'm distressed or not, because my lifestyle is pretty much quite balanced in that sense. And and then I'm not wasteful, because it's all things to be, I guess they go hand in hand, being prudent and not being wasteful. So that's how I've managed to run my home and my business. And it's been a lot of sacrifices. In the first 15 years, it took me 17 years to even buy my first home, and it was just from hardcore saving everything I could from my job. It took a long time to build my factory. That was another maybe 10 years, 15 years. That came from just saving and saving and saving. I'm putting back into the business. Some people say I'm small-minded because I refuse to take a loan. Because I also feel that we're not big, like you say. I think I'll say we're medium scale, you understand? I would say,
you're trying.
The PLCs are big, you understand? But I think we're medium scale, and I always say to people who are starting businesses and to my children, that your business will speak to you. Your business has a way of talking to you. So for my second daughter, for example, who is she's into photography as well and IT, and she said, "Oh, Mom, that's my passion, and I want to get a place on the island." And I'm like, no, that's not how you start. Start with Mom's little apartment, and that's what she's done. Grow your business from there. Learn your mistakes slowly, carefully, step by step. And when it's time for you to get a place on the island, it will come. So that's just basically the way my philosophy is, and it works for me. I feel that growth should be calculated and slow. Most of the time, people want to borrow money for a business, and the banks don't want to help because they don't see on paper how you're going to grow that business from 0 to 100 in 1 year. There are businesses that can grow in such scale up, but they're not many. So the best thing to do is to start small.
Take it one step at a time.
Take it one step at a time, one product at a time. And that's what I did. When I first started the furniture business, I only made sofas.
Okay.
I only made sofas. And then I went into beds, and then into wardrobes, and then into kitchens, and then into hotels. And that's how I graduated. Each time I was comfortable in what I had done and achieved, I would now have a new challenge.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. And now one of the challenges that I'm growing into is to do what I call architectural interiors. So you're talking about, going to hotel lobbies and doing the wood cladding.
Okay.
You understand? That's a whole area of interiors that's very different from what I'm doing. So you're doing the bars, you're doing the lobbies, you're doing the actual ambience that doesn't involve the furniture. So that's a whole different area. And that's where I'm at now. I'm beginning to get the jobs, and I'm beginning to get better at doing what I call architectural interiors. Yeah.
Now you're talking about, growing your business into another area. And I'm just wondering, as you were talking about that, how would you say you have grown in this line of business? The first thing that came to me was, okay, she must be educating herself, because these are areas that you're wearing into. You've grown one step at a time. How have you been able to, develop and grow your foray into these areas of interior decoration and furniture making?
One thing you always have to do is associate with people who are better than you are. You continue have to seek people who are better, who are willing to teach. You need to always have the approach that you don't know everything, and always be willing to learn and to be open. And of course, I talk to you a lot about backward integration.
Yes.
I spend a lot of time in Istanbul. Istanbul is my hub in terms of learning, in terms of education. It used to be Italy in my early days, but now it's more Istanbul, it's more Belgium, it's more Spain, and now definitely China. China has a lot to offer, and they are quite generous in terms of their teachings and their learnings, because obviously they have either machines or they have products they want you to integrate into your business, and they're quite generous, like I said, with their time and with the learning process. So you just keep having I always say the furniture industry is like clothes, fashion industry. You keep having to get better, get innovative, stay with the trend, bring new things out, new fabrics, new textures. It's just a continuous process. The minute you feel that you've done it all or you've stopped, you really are just beginning to die a slow death.
A slow death. All right. Because Yinka keeps evolving every day and her business keeps growing, why not let's take a trip to the factory of CMC Interiors to actually see Yinka at work and get to meet one or two of her staff to listen to what they have to say about this woman that I am learning so much about, who keeps unfolding, with everything that comes out of her mouth. Let's take a trip to the factory of CMC Interiors.
So Monday mornings, like I said, I need to set the pace for the week. I actually really don't like it when I don't come in on Monday mornings, because I get to set the pace in terms of reprioritize deliveries, what production issues need to be attended to first. Just basically set the pace for what we're going to achieve for the week. And like I said, it's a pressure, I can't even think right now because it's a pressure time of the year and we're extremely busy and there's a lot to do. So if you can follow me around basically to see some of the one or two things that I have to do. So for example, this is a fabric that belongs to a client and it's what's left of what we have used for his chairs. And I need to see how many pillows I can get out of this fabric. So you can come in here. Again, because we've been working so much, this is, you see the messy area, this is our upholstery section. So basically this is where we actually bring in either old chairs that need to be, please, no noise, old chairs that need to be refurbished. That's actually a very big part of what we do. People bring their old chairs and then we change the fabric, open it up, change the foam. But anyway, this is my team of people that tries to ensure that the things we need to get delivered and done. This particular chair is a recovery, what we call a recovery. It's an old chair. This chair is about, maybe the client bought this chair from us about 8 to 9 years ago. So, and it's actually our product. We do recover other people's products as well, but a lot of our own customers bring their very old chairs to us. So this is about 9 years old, brought to us this week, and we need to get it done. So part of the process, which is a very hectic process, and this is a new tool we just found. This is a new amazing tool I just found when I was in China. It looks very simple, but it's the most amazing thing because when you do a recovery, part of what you have to do is remove every single pin. So, I broke a nail, so you see my nails are very, no. Why are you taking it from me when you know I can equally do? So this tool here, I just want to let people know that sometimes when they say they want to recover a chair, they think that it's easy. It's actually very, very difficult work because every single pin, you understand? And this tool is amazing because we just got this tool. So these are things, we have to remove all the pins from the wood. Where's your plier? Where's your plier? If you don't remove the pins from the chair, you don't have space to re-pin or re-cloth the chair. So every single pin, it's actually easier. So this is what we do. So it's actually easier to do a new chair than to do a recovery. But people expect that recovery is a piece of cake, but really it is not. So that's basically, it's a lot of work. So he's doing that for the set. So in this section, we actually cover the frames. Either we are covering the frame. This is one of the recovered chair that has been properly treated. So it's ready to be covered. This is a new product. This is a recovery, and all these are recoveries. You can see he's using the same tool. He's using the same tool to remove the pins. So, and then they're cutting the fabric that will now be placed onto this chair. So this is where the area where the fabric is actually cut and covered. And most of the time we use a gun system. This is actually a very good and efficient system where basically we use a gun system to pin the fabric on the chairs. It just makes things very faster, and they know I can use it. They know I'm very good at using it back. So, but these are pins which you'll have to do by hand, you know. So these are what we call our work order board. This is very, very important because every single paper here represents a customer's order. This is like I said, it tells you what exactly we're producing. It tells you what fabric we're using. It tells you how the fabric is combined, you understand? Which one goes on the seat, which one goes on the back. It tells you everything you need to know about the production of that chair. So basically when the order comes in, the manager does that and then brings it to them so that there's no error.
She's a loving, caring woman. And she likes to teach people what you don't know, to lift you up. She's the one that taught me everything that I know today. And glory be to God, I'm very grateful to her.
She's a hardworking woman. When I first got here, the way I saw her doing some things, I even told her that she's hardworking, that I want to be like her. That's what I told her the first time I started working. So she's hardworking. Then, under her leadership, it is very easy to be a hardworking person. Because if a stranger comes here now, you know, if the person sees how she works with her staff, you will know that she's our boss because she's so hardworking. She can clean, she can sweep, she can do anything, and she engages us to do the same thing.
Wow. The factory of CMC Interiors actually had so much to offer us there. I mean, we've seen Yinka at work, we've spoken to her staff, and it doesn't come easy being able to maintain your workers, you know, having your staff strength stay on with you for so long. And I must say to you, Yinka, kudos, because you've been able to, you know, keep your staff for so long. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Now, back to, you know, our discussion here. Yes, we've heard your staff pay kind of glowing tributes to you and how you've been able to keep the business afloat. In all of this that they have talked about and which you have talked about, Yinka, I have not heard one word about recreation.
Oh.
How do you rest? Hello?
Hello?
Do you ever get any rest at all?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Trust me, we all need. We all need to find that time that we can rest and just, I call it, Sundays are very, really my rest days generally.
You don't work on Sundays?
I try not to. I mean, no. If it's needed, you know, look, you have to stay in business and you have to meet a deadline. If it requires you to work on Sunday, I work on Sunday. I mean, I worked up to Christmas Eve, you know, to get people's houses ready. That's just what you do. You need to maintain that. And sometimes in this business, people are working, they want to make joint decisions with their wives, their children. The only time they have maybe at the weekend. So you just have to be flexible. You know, otherwise you need to put the needs of the customers first. And they're very appreciative knowing that you would take time out on a Sunday. Another good day to work is a Sunday because the traffic is like almost nothing. So trust me, I would pick Sunday any day.
Can you do that? Can you imagine?
Yes. I would pick Sunday. I encourage my drivers to work on Sundays after church because I say, look, just imagine how many deliveries we can do on Sunday as opposed to Monday, especially now with the Lagos-Ibadan expressway. We really have
construction works going on.
We really have to be creative about how we move around and how we get things done. We need to continue to make it flawless. We can't say, oh, the Lagos, that's why I didn't. Customers don't want to hear that, you know. You have your challenges, you solve them, you make yourself look great, and that's what they're paying for. Sundays, I call it my vegetate day. That means I'm sure I spend 10 or more hours lying flat on the floor. I just do. I probably just get up to eat or to attend to one or two things. But generally, I like being on the floor because it's cool. The floor is cold.
Oh,
so
this my
I don't know why. I just go like that, you know. And I'm there all day, and then maybe I'll watch Netflix. But generally, what I really love doing the most is my yoga and my swimming. That's what I really love. And my bicycling. 6 times a week. I'm either swimming or I'm at yoga or I'm riding my bicycle. So once I've done that, I call it my gift, my daily gift to myself. I enjoy that. And then, of course, I hang around. Trust me, I hang around with my friends. I go to jazz maybe twice a month. I love jazz music. Seriously.
Yinka,
yes, ma.
Tell me something else because I do not see this Yinka.
Yeah, doing all those things. Trust me. The thing about it is that I wouldn't, if I have a deadline or I have something to do work-wise, for some reason work would always be the preference to do. But yes, whenever I can squeeze it in, I do. I go to jazz. I hang out with my friends. I attend their parties. Yes, I may not have the Jimmy Choo shoes on. I may have a wedge on.
Okay.
But I do attend those things, believe it or not.
You do attend those.
You missed the last BC show. I was on it. I was so proud because I've never been on BC show, and apparently they got a good. Oh, you're BC show. I'm like, I made it to the BC show, and I made it to none of those shows. So
yes, you did. And I must tell our viewers, I mean, getting you to sit to do this interview, wow. Yes, it was hard.
Yeah, because you came at a really busy time.
Yinka, is there any time you're not busy?
Today I'm not. That's why I'm sitting down here with you.
I'm sure our viewers are taking that with a pinch of salt because I'm practically having to hold her down to do this interview because she's ready to run out of here. But still along the lines of what you do, you know, furnishing business and all of that, I'm wondering, will you say that your background in child psychology has helped in any way, one, to grow your business, two, to keep your staff strength, because we see that, you know, you have been able to keep some of your staff for quite a while. So would you say your background, you know, having studied child psychology, had any role to play in this at all?
Well, I think it's a combination of things in terms of the role that it plays in keeping my staff. And yes, it helps you in the sense that you've been trained to do what I call a very quick assessment, not only of your staff, but also of your customers. You understand if they're finicky, you understand if time is important to them, you understand certain things about their personality. You have some customers who, they like you to carry them along with every step of what you're doing. You have another customer who just feels, look, I'm paying you, take the load off me, I don't want to hear about it till it ends. So you have, I've been trained to have an eye or an ear, or my senses are in tuned to make a quick assessment. And that helps you in knowing how to approach both your customers and your staff. And I think it's not just about the child psychology background. I think I learned from my Mr. Adeola, founder of Faith Foundation, that look, you have people working for you. You don't ask them how they are. You don't ask about their wives. You don't ask about their children. You don't know who your local government chairman is. You don't know who your DPO in your area is. I learned that from him. And that helps me a lot. I'm always constantly asking my staff. And trust me, it goes a long way. You know, they were sick. What did you do? Are you okay? Which hospital was it? Did they treat you well? How's your mom? Oh, your wife just had a baby. How's the baby doing? Those things go a mighty, mighty long way, because they need to know that you care about them, you know, and it's a two-way street. They're always asking me how I am, or how's my son abroad, and things like that. So it's about that, and it's about being sensitive also to their needs. For example, during the floods, we had 3 or 4 staff that their houses were totally flooded and were unable to, they didn't have a home any longer. So I housed about 2 people here. Wow. Yes, because I'm at an empty apartment here. I housed 2 people here, and other people were able to house temporarily until the water flood. So, you know, you let them know that they're working for a company that when push comes to that when push comes to squeeze, we'll find a way to support them. So, you know, like the staff who have been with you over 20 years, the least you can do for them is make sure their kids are equally educated. So we have people that we are sponsoring to go to university, and yes, and on and on and on. It could be housing, it could be schooling, it could be further training, it could be hospital assistance for a relative. So there's a whole array of things that you can do, just trying to meet them at their point of needs, and that's a way of showing appreciation, you know. So I always tell them it's not just about the Christmas hampers that you get. It's really a lot more than that. What do you do for somebody all year round? Sometimes it might be just time off. I have a staff who was just constantly late, constantly coming in very late, and I called him. I said, what's wrong with you? And he said, my mom is sick. I said, take 2 weeks off and go and sit with your mom. And eventually that mother passed. So I was happy that we gave him 2 weeks paid salary to go and stay with his mom. It's just basically meeting them at the particular point of need. And for everybody, it's different.
Well done, well done. Yinka, what is your day like? How does your day begin? Take me through your normal day.
A typical day. Okay, my typical day starts about maybe 4:35. And basically what I do at 4:35 is respond to a lot of mail. It's my quiet time to respond to mail, to WhatsApp. It could be my friends, it could be business, it could be letting a customer know that I haven't forgotten about them, maybe a customer that I have to attend. It's quiet time for me to go through my phone and do a lot of that. So as soon as I'm done with that, in bed, I take my blood pressure. Yes.
After attending to your meal?
After attending to my meal, in bed, while I'm still lying in bed, I take my blood pressure. Once I get to then I change for my workout. So it's either a yoga day or a swimming day or a bike day. Then I go out at about 6:20 when the daylight starts. Especially if I'm riding my bike, I need to go when dawn breaks. So I go about 6:30, I'm back at about 8. I take my cocktail, my portion cocktail.
Yes, your portion cocktail.
Yes, my portion cocktail.
Carrot,
all sorts.
Beetroot,
all sorts
ginger,
of stuff.
I
Yes.
mean,
I'm drinking that. If I take that, in fact, if I can have 3 glasses of that all day, I'm good. So I have that, and then I jump into my car, take a quick shower, jump in my car, and I'm gone. So that's the home front in the morning. Now things are a little bit more me, because my kids are grown, and the last 2 are in boarding house, so I'm literally alone most of the time. So it's before it's logistics about kids, you know, wake up, go to school. Now it's totally quiet time. I can maybe clean a cupboard a day or something like that. I might decide I want to tidy up my shirt closet. So I do a lot of those kind of things. Then I go, and of course, hopefully, my drive to work is usually when I think about what I need to get done for that day, or what I want to reprioritize. I think about it. So I never listen to the radio, because I'm always crazy when somebody gets in my car and the first thing they do is turn on the radio. Unfortunately, I don't listen to the radio because I need that quiet time to really run through my mind. And also, my phone is always going off. So it's always, you have to turn off the radio to turn off. So my phone goes off. I'm dealing with that. I get to work, and I'm basically, on Mondays, I try not to do anything outside the office on Mondays. Yeah, because Mondays are very important to me to set the pace for the week. So that if I have to not be there any other time of the week, I know that on Mondays I've at least set the pace for what I need to do, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so forth. We have our team meetings, we know what needs to be done, we know the targets that have to be met, we know the purchases that have to be done. We do all that on Monday. And of course now it's not so easy driving back home because the traffic is a lot. If I'm privileged to be driven, I can do some work in my car. If I'm driving, then it's a hard day back home. I get home, take a shower, normal everyday stuff, eat something, and I'm catching Netflix if I can.
If you can.
Catching the news. I'm obsessed with what Trump does. So, yeah, I am obsessed with, I'm not going to say that, that's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
I am obsessed with what has Trump done or said today. Let me quickly catch up on that, you know. So I do a little bit of that, and then I sleep quite early because my day starts early. And I find that most people who have a exercise routine tend to sleep early because it just doesn't work when you're tired.
Yes.
So I get good 6-7 hours sleep, and then the next day starts all over again.
All over again.
Yeah.
All right. Talking about your dress sense, we were at the factory, and you know we've seen you in work clothes. Yes. I also got something you said, cleaning out your shirt closet. Yes. So obviously you must have, like, you know, your kind of clothes that you wear. Yes. Of course, apart from the fact that you don't wear shoes. Yes. So what informs your dress sense? And what kind of clothes do you wear? Oh my goodness. Comfort, soft cotton, comfort, old, washed, worn out, comfort. That's really my dress sense. In fact, I have a friend who sells clothes. And every year for the past 6 years, she has given me a ball gown. And I have them. You will get to wear. And I have them still in the pack that she has given them to me. And I hope she doesn't give me one this year, because I keep saying to her, Happy, I don't have anywhere to go to wear these kind of clothes. Stop giving me these clothes. And I feel bad because she's my very, very good friend. I don't want to give the clothes away, but I keep waiting for an opportunity to wear this ball gown. And I've had one or two, but for some reason I put them on and I feel like Cleopatra, and then I'm like, nah, that's not me. And then I wear my t-shirt again and my jeans, and you know, I like doing things like wearing Ankara with tennis shoes, or wearing a t-shirt and with Ankara wrapper. You know, something really off, and then people say, Oimboni, they excuse me, and I thank God. And that works I just have a nice excuse that I'm Oibo. So what do they expect, you know? I'm much better now. In those days, I would go to weddings and I wouldn't tie gele, and I feel like the only one, you know. You literally sometimes was the only one. Now I try to comply a little bit. I try. But, I mean, clothes is just, I don't know, I don't really spend a lot of time
thinking and worrying about clothes. And now, I've even changed now. Like anything you see now that has a zip on the back is a very old dress, like this one.
Yes.
Now, I insist that I'm an Ankara queen. All my Ankaras must have the zip
in front.
On the front. Because I don't have the kids at home anymore to say,
Please
help me zip me up. And I'm always struggling with the zip. I'm like, why? Just change.
Yes.
Tell your tailor, put the zip to the front. Just like your top.
like my top.
There's always a solution to every problem.
Yeah, of course there is.
Yes.
All right, finally, Yinka, you're one woman who has thrived against all odds. You've done well for yourself, I must say, in your chosen line of business, especially working in an environment that is male-dominated. Yes. Now, to our viewers out there, there's someone there, I'm sure, who's looking up to you as a role model. There's someone who wants to be like you. What are your words of encouragement, words of advice to such individuals?
Very important, because I realized that a lot more people know you than you think. People are watching all the time, so it's very important to try to remain to be a role model and to do. But generally, I always say to people, be very clear about what you want to do. Take baby steps, and what exactly are you willing to sacrifice? That's always my first question to young people. I mean, if you want XYZ and you're not ready to give up XYZ, you're not ready to give it, like, my daughter wanted to start her business. What are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up the eating out, the hanging out with your friends? All these kind of things cost money. Are you ready to sell your only car to get to where you want to go? I'm more interested in what are the sacrifices you are willing to make. Are you willing to work overnight? In fact, so what do you really want to give up in order to get where you're going? Knowing that there's nothing free in life, you understand? And I think the other thing for me is attitude. Attitude, character, attitude. I'm more likely to hire somebody that has a good character and has a good attitude and teach them the job than somebody who knows the job and has a bad attitude and doesn't have good character. So for me, it's just very simple. It's not easy, but it's simple.
Well done. Thank you so much, Yinka. It's been a pleasure,
Mine
having
as well.
you
Thank
as
you
a
so
guest
much
on the show.
Thank you.
And I've learned so much from you.
Thank you, and I hope we get to see again.
Definitely,
We'll
get to see.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic.
All right, I have been talking to the CEO, CMC Interiors, Yinka Oshobu, and we've heard so much from her. A good attitude, a good character. And do not forget, she said something much earlier, which is about doing what you need to do today, right here and now, not leaving it until tomorrow. And that is what we're taking away from the show today. We do hope you've had a good time with us on Executive Discuss, because I have had so much fun and I've learned so much from this outstanding and beautiful woman. Let's do this again, same time next week on another episode of Executive Discuss.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you,
in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. App for iOS or Android, Intelsat 901 degree east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
She cries. She cries in anguish and in pain. She bears the scourge of her grief. She toils in vain for justice and succumbs to silence. He gloats over his malady. Like a beast, he pounces with no remorse. Her cry means nothing. Her pain feeds her shame. Like an orphan, she's left to grieve. But no more will she cry in vain. Her adversaries will henceforth bear the brunt of their cruelty. Rape is evil. Rape is a plague, a pandemic of monumental consequences. We must unite and kick it out of our society.
Connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
An important component of daily diet in every home, Oriza sativa or rice, is the most stable food crop in Nigeria. Rice is grown upland, but the crop thrives better where water is readily available. And in this part of the country, there is abundant surface and underground water from Sokoto River and other rivers that flow through the plains. In rice production, seed selection is a very critical decision, which to a significant extent affects productivity. There are different rice seeds used by farmers in Sokoto State.
Ingila ana ce mai bakin hulun da yake ana ce mai jatau ga damana ana sashi amma yanzu ga sunanta ana ce mata tuhuwa ga Iraruwan da muke sa sun kai kashi 3 ko 4 zuwa 5. Na farko muna sa wata da aka ce ma tofa, muna sa wadda aka ce ma yattara, muna sa wadda aka ce ma sibis, muna sa wadda aka ce ma jamila.
The farmers give them different names. They go to different market and they buy different varieties, sometimes without even knowing what kind of variety is it. They only test it, and once they found it maybe yielding and appealing to them, they adopt it and they give it to the next person. And before you know it, they have given it a name. It could be the name of the person who brought it. It could be the name of the town he brought it from, or the market he brought it from. So that's how they go about.
We encourage our farmers to use Baingila, that is Faru 44, because of these obvious reasons: high yield, tolerance to disease and pest, and short duration.
Faru 44. This is a well-known species in agriculture in Nigeria, especially in this part of the country. This is a seed that has been certified by all the Agricultural Research Institute, and of course including the National Seed Council. That Faru 44 is a variety of rice improved seed which does yield more per hectare than the ordinary variety we had. So from inception to date, you find that government has procured rice seed and distributed to farmers in Sokoto State free of charge.
Da in mun ka shigo fadama da wannan irin rana mu na gargajiya to bisa ikanin gaskiya da su muka amfani, amma shigo ga fadama sai muka kama ta kawo nan iri Faru 44 sai muka kama amfani da shi. Misali yanzu in kana da wuri mai hekta guda sadda kana sa irin gargajiya to akalla kili bakin ka kai buhu 20 garai ko kuma buhu 20 garai ko kuma buhu 20 da wani abu hekta guda ga irin mu wancan na gargajiya wanda na gargajiya. Amma yanzu shigo fara matiri da mun ka samu wani iri Faru 44 to akalla in ka sa hekta guda